Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OS World Cup 2020. We have returned from our hour hiatus to bring you yet another match up today. We have Romania versus Norway, two more teams. This will be the matchup to decide the opponent for the United States next round, and the loser of this match will go down to face Malaysia. We have a matchup later. We'll have Germany versus Turkey after, but right now, a very exciting one. I am joined once again by this one guy. Welcome back.
Hey, welcome back. Good to be here still for another exciting match. I am hyped for this one for sure. We've got a good match on our hands.
I think we have two very solid teams this year, a couple of good trades in terms of rosters for both sides, but a strong one nonetheless. We have Romania and Norway. This is the closest matchup on paper, being the 16th and 17th seeded teams, given qualifier seeding. Both of these putting up strong performances there, but a lot of standout names on both of these teams here.
Yeah, I think, anyone who's familiar with the tournament scene, who watched OWC 2019, especially, they'll recognize a lot of names on these rosters. Huge names in the tournament scene like Badu, Maxim Bogdan, Eternum, Yokespie, GN. Really, really well-known players on both sides in this one. With a lot of very diverse skill sets. I think this is one of the coolest matchups in terms of what kind of skills the players bring to the table. And for that reason, it is one of the most fascinating matchups I think we're going to get to see this round, coming at a great time here towards the end. A very exciting one to get to witness here.
Yeah, we had some close qualifiers performance on a couple of areas for both of these teams here, but it was very surprising that, past a certain point, they were decently separated. Nomad for both of these countries being very contested, Romania being the 20th ranked and Nomad, Norway the 16th. The big standouts, however, is going to be today. Romania was the 9th seeded DT team, and Norway was the 7th seeded hidden team. So they clearly have some pretty big strong suits on both sides here today that they're going to maybe look forward to as we get into this match. But the qualifiers pool, I think, on average, maybe just a little bit more difficult than some of these picks in here. So we'll see how it turns out with the difference in maps.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see the strategy these two teams bring to the table in terms of the bans and the picks that they go for. We see immediately Romania banning out hidden number 1, for instance, because to expect Norway to be a very good hidden and reading and gimmick team. So, the thing that's going to stand out to me, I think, in this one is what skill sets the teams kind of try to lean into. As you said, Romania doing very well in double time in qualifiers, which is a skill set that one normally doesn't so much associate with Norway. Their star players like Yokespie and GN not really known as DT players. So I think that strategy of what they go for is going to be interesting. And we do see Norway banning out a double time, picking double time 1 as their ban, Shiori, the most standard of those DT picks. So already kind of getting into very logical bans for the two teams and pretty much what you'd expect in that phase of this match.
Yeah, Norway, they have a decent amount of this pool to work with here. And I think there's a lot that could favor them in terms of playing here. They're definitely going to look towards the hidden today. That's their strong point. It has generally been their strong point. They run really well with that. But they're also surprisingly a good free mod team. They're going to stick with the hidden too. So very conventional first pick. But, Norway this year, they've definitely rounded out their lineup a little bit more. And I think Nomad and free mod are going to be more viable for them this year. As well as the fact that there's some pretty decent aimers on the side of Norway now. They got Marcus, Yokespie, and Melver in right now, who are known for having some pretty decent aims. So the Hard Rock, good for them here. Romania probably going to look towards the speed.
Yeah, you see a name like Badu and you don't immediately think speed, but when you consider the rest of the Romania roster and what they're capable of, it would not be at all surprising to see them going into that skill set. And I do think that Romania in general has kind of the higher skill cap overall. I do think their top end players are a little bit stronger than the top players from Norway. So to see Norway go into kind of the gimmickier types of maps, whereas Romania will maybe opt into more mechanics, is I think the expectation for this matchup. Maybe a little surprising to see the AR8 hidden left up here by Romania, favoring the hidden 1 ban over hidden 2, leaving that up for Norway for their first pick. But I think it's something that Romania will be fine at. You know, Badu obviously is one of the best reading players in the game, so he'll be able to match up with anybody on Norway, and they've got other players who'll be able to fill in for this type of map as well.
Yeah, you kind of have the... I think Norway has, you know, kind of that star factor coming into this match with a lot of those known players that you can't really forget the name of. I mean, like, players like GN and, you know, even Badu for Romania. Those are names that just stick out so much on both of these teams. And if you're in the tournament scene, there are a lot of other players here that you will certainly recognize. And there's a lot of AR8 ability on both of these teams here. But, you know, we really have to favor this towards Norway, given previous performances on Hidden and the fact that their placement in qualifiers was just so high in Hidden. This seemingly, if all goes right for them, should be a very, very solid, confident first pick.
Yeah, I think Norway got exactly what they wanted here for the first pick of the match, and they're going to look to put up a very strong performance that I think is probably going to be something that we'll see near the top of the leaderboard for this round on this Hidden 2 pick. Going to be starting things off, Chiu, Afterwind, Badu, Eternum, facing off against Marcus, Yokespy, Melver, and GN, first pick. Seeing Melver missing a few notes in the early stage there on that first combo, but Afterwind and Eternum finding misses of their own. This is a map that you can actually kind of int relatively easily because it is fairly low BPM streams, which combined with the fact that it's AR8 are quite tricky. Already several misses from multiple players, leaving Norway in an early lead.
You can really tell who the players are that kind of main this style of map right here. Norway running with Yokespy, who just kind of eats these maps up. But again, Romania has Badu, as we mentioned, probably one of the best low AR reading players in the world, who is kind of just running through with this with a double S, making it look like it is easy. There's 2 breaks on the side of Romania for Chiu and Eternum again, which is going to leave Norway with a, we'll say it's a 3-2 FC lead, just because Afterwind is basically full comboing. He had a very early break, but, you know, Badu with that double S right now is holding off Yokespy, but GN's FC is going to be offsetting Afterwind, and Marcus is essentially an extended combo for them with very good accuracy as well. Melver starting to finally build up a combo, so...
Yeah, Melver's cursor looking quite shaky, though. I am surprised he's managing to maintain his combo, and there it goes. He is having a little bit of a rough go of things compared to the rest of his team, but fortunately, the 3-way FC, you know, Marcus is a player that I don't think gets talked about enough, and, you know, the community tournament scene obviously is a recognized name. Of course, he does break as I say that, but he is very, very strong, especially on these early round picks. He's not, you know, maybe the greatest late round player, but he is a very strong early round player. But Marcus and Melver both having some trouble. Fortunately for them, Eternum finding a break. However, there is plenty of combo on the side of Romania. That double FC almost matched, I should say, by Badu and Afterwind, but Yokespy and GN just doing enough for a very close early pick there. So not quite as one-sided as you might have expected. The double FC from Yokespy and GN, though, did pull through Badu with the 1x100. I think that's going to be the best play we'll see on that map. But just not quite enough backing him up from Romania, and that's going to be about a 92,000 point victory for the first pick for Norway. Very close, but they do emerge with the win on map 1.
Like, very solid from Team Norway as an overall team performance there. Melver kind of struggling on that, but I imagine he was more of a fill for this map. Norway just getting a 4th player in there to make sure that they could hold off what Romania put up there. But that score from Badu right there, that is... in my mind, impossible to beat for almost every single player in this tournament. That 1x100 play is just so rare to see, and it really shows just how comfortable he is on maps like this. And I think, you know, Romania had all the opportunity in the world there. We mentioned under 100,000 score difference on that pick, so Norway certainly not taking that by a comfortable amount, but they were able to bring it into the end with a lot of later breaks. And we saw something very similar earlier today with in the UK versus Chile, where it was just really strong scores until the ending of the map, where the combos just drop off. And, you know, we've seen it more today than we have in previous matches this weekend. but a lot of the late breaks really almost costing teams here today. But we're going to go back to Romania now. They're going to have their opportunity to get themselves on the board with their first pick here. I imagine they'll go for DT, and there's the DT2 pick immediately from Badu as we say that. I think they have a strong lineup. I think even though Badu may be not recognized as a primarily speed-oriented player, definitely has the speed to back his team up, especially when he's running with players like Eternum and Roly on his team, where there is just so much speed. I don't know if they'll have to run with Badu just because they have so many new players that are good at this here. And Romania is going to have a good chance to get themselves on the board pretty early here, keeping this even.
Yeah, I think there's actually a chance that Badu just doesn't play this map because the rest of his team has players who can come in for it. And it's the sort of skill set that I think with the rest of that roster in mind, they're going to be much stronger than Norway at. Obviously Norway planned out their ban. They banned the double time number 1, so they did knowingly leave this up, which, maybe that speaks to them feeling like they can put up a decent performance on it. But yeah, I think this DT is one that's more favored toward Romania. I think DT3 is a little bit more of a toss-up since it's more finger control oriented rather than raw speed. But we will see how things go. With this being the first pick from Romania, you've got to expect it to be something that they're going to feel very, very good about. This has been one of the most popular maps this round as well, so not surprising to see it again. And we're going to get underway here. It's going to be Roly, Afterwind, Christie 2708, and Eternum for Romania. They'll be up against Comp V, Fiel, Melver, and Nielsen for Norway on the first pick here for the Romanian side.
Good lineups for both of these teams here. Some nice additions to Norway. I mentioned before the match started. They have definitely rounded themselves out much more than they have in previous years on speed picks, so they will be able to contend a little bit more, especially with a lot of very early breaks. We're obviously going to get the little DT lag at the beginning as it fixes itself after this first pause. So we'll get everyone nice and synced up. But Romania running with players like Eternum on this is essentially a guaranteed FC a lot of the time. Eternum is just so comfortable on maps like this, and Roly, a great player to be able to back him up there. Christie's early break was Bancho, comfy, looking pretty comfortable on this, and Melver to back him up.
That was really bad.
I had to.
We did actually have an early break from Afterwind for Romania, but Comp V does show up with the miss for Norway, so he was holding the SS and no longer. We're going to go to the first KI with a break from Melver as well as him, so 2 FCs, all that's left for Norway now, 3 FCs, and 1 near FC for Romania. They will be able to maybe extend out a little bit of a lead here in this first KI section. They're looking pretty strong so far. Very high accuracy on Eternum. I think that's 100, maybe 2?
Yeah. That's very low for Eternum there. He is just going to be the player to keep your eyes on. Eternum is easily the best speed player running for Romania in this match. Afterwind, a little bit behind his team in terms of combo at that early break, but it's not really going to matter because his accuracy is running above Melver's, who is the next closest to him besides Nielsen in terms of FCs. But it's 2 FCs to 3 technically right now, but Afterwind's combo alone is matching what Comfy and Melver are putting up. But there's a big break.
Christie. You're gonna watch out for Melver. He is shaking really, really badly. This break is a big help for him, but he is shaking horribly. I would not be surprised to see him have some trouble with the last KI, considering how bad those shakes are when these streams come back in. Fiel and Nielsen still feeling pretty comfortable, but Eternum and Roly are matching them, and Afterwind matching Comfy and Melver as well. So just Christie a bit behind, but I think Romania is in a good spot here into this ending.
How is Melver still comboing? This is absolutely insane. He is really... I feel like this has gone beyond the point of shaking. This is like jittering at this point. There's not a lot of time left in the map, and there goes Afterwind and Melver.
Afterwind and Melver as well. Still the 2 FCs matching for Roly and Eternum against Fiel and Nielsen. Comfy with the big combo at the end, but just not going to end up being enough. It'll end up being pretty close, though. I mean, this is looking like it's going to end up under 100,000 points. And it does, about 95,000 points. So 2 very close opening picks for the teams. On their own first pick, they do both win their first pick, but they are both under 100K. So clearly a very close matchup here. I'm amazed by Melver able to keep that combo up as long as he did, but the ACK from Eternum, man, 3x100, very impressive. Fiel, not far behind, only 8 100s from him. So some very good performances, just a little bit better backing score from Romania.
It's already very impressive. You know, we mentioned before Badu putting up probably the highest single player score on Hidden 2 in the previous pick. Now Eternum, I'd say this is probably the top, if not one of the top DT single player scores on this map here. So Romania really seems to be running with a lot of like singular players that are just the best at what these maps are. And I think it's really just coming down to how well their teammates can back them up. Norway had a lot of backing combo on the Hidden, and Romania, just the overall consistency on this DT. Norway had such an opportunity to bring that back as well at the ending. They had a really high overall team combo, and they just kind of ran out of time at the ending there. But we're going to keep going back and forth between these two teams. Definitely know what they are strong at, but it's kind of funny. Even though Romania is favored towards DT and Norway might be favored towards the reading, they're very similar teams. If you look at their overall rosters, they definitely have some players that you could be like, yeah, this kind of matches up here, and then we can put this player for this player. So very similar on paper if you really look down deep.
Yeah, I think that's part of what makes this matchup so close, is that some of these skill sets these players hold are so similar. Lots of players who are very good at reading and gimmicky type of stuff. As we said, I think Romania a little better on the top end mechanics, but the fact that Norway was able to keep that speedy DT pick within 100,000 points shows that at least on these early picks, they are very strong. And we are going to get the early Nomad 1 pick here from Norway. I am a little surprised by that, an aim pick as their second selection of this match here against a Romania squad that has some really strong aim players.
So I think Romania running with like the known strong aim players here. I mean, you have players like Eternum, Rolly, and Badu in right now that are just known for this. And Afterwind, certainly nothing to scoff at as well. But I definitely think they're running on the fact that Badu's aim style lies very heavily in gimmick and very awkward aim. And this is more big jump consistency. And I think when you're running with players like Yokespai and Fiel, and I imagine GN will be coming in for this, we've seen, even though the accuracy might suffer on the side of Norway in terms of jump maps, and we've seen a lot of countries drop quite a bit of accuracy, even countries like the United States who played the other day losing so much accuracy at the beginning of this map. It's really all down to who can hold the combo. And if you come from community tournaments, Yokespai is very good at holding a combo. So
yeah, he is definitely a player who is known for prioritizing combo over accuracy in many cases. And it works out for him a lot of the time. Combo is a huge aspect of your score. So, making that priority is understandable and ends up working out just fine. But Badu, for my money, one of the best raw aim players in the game. I mean, definitely up there with some of the greats. You see all those, all the clips, right? Badu hits a thing. Reddit's favorite title, Badu hits a thing. So with this being only a 6.3 star aim map, I think he's going to be quite comfortable. And he's a player who will be capable of, I think, keeping his accuracy up as well, since he's so good at kind of awkward rhythms. So I think both teams have players who are going to be really strong on this one.
Yeah, there's one very big jump section before the first Ki that has traditionally caught a lot of players out, even good aim players and some of the best. And there goes Badu with a very early miss.
Man, I called it through the intro too. That first 50 combo, he had an SS and everybody else was at 97, 98% maximum. And then he just misses. That's so sad. But it's a 4-minute long Nomad 1, so plenty of time for that combo to be built back up.
Just trying to find his comfortability here. He's definitely not coming off of a similar aim style map. I'm not entirely sure what he was practicing or playing in between the two previous picks, but he did not play the DT, which means he is, if nothing else, coming from an AR8 streamy hidden map to an aim Nomad, which is a pretty big difference. But he's holding his own right now. He's the highest accuracy on his team, even with the miss.
Highest accuracy total, in fact, higher accuracy than Yokespai, who was the next highest. So Badu making me look like maybe a little bit of a profit here. Hopefully he'll keep his combo up. But very small lead in favor of Romania despite that Badu break because of their somewhat higher accuracy. It's pretty similar across the board, but they do have 3 players at or above 99%, while Norway only has 1. And there's a break from Melver in a pretty bad spot here as we're about to go into the next Ki.
Yeah, that's that first big Ki section there that a lot of players we've seen break on. It's not the biggest jumps ever, and this jump is the big section here, and Melver does break there as well. Yolkspie really solid on the accuracy right now. I know we mentioned, prioritizing combo game, but he is really showing off right now. GN and Fiel are very decent backing combos. Unfortunately, Melver just so far behind now that Romania is taking a massive score gap slowly.
Yeah, Norway with that Melver drop score, I mean, that's about, 80,000 points just on that one player versus the other players with their FCs. So that's going to be a big detriment. We are going to about reach the halfway point, and once again, Melver shaking. That must just be part of his play style at this point, but I don't know how he deals with it. We'll see what happens as we get into more jumps, because that aim is going to be harder and harder to control the more he shakes.
Yeah, this is, interesting to see the different play styles on this map as well. The majority of the players that are still holding full combo for both teams are actually alternating this map, which is interesting to see for an early round Nomad 1 at 192 BPM. And there goes Melver again. Unfortunately, Norway, they're looking so strong on this Nomad pick here, but Melver just not able to compete, unfortunately. I think his shakes are just getting the best of him right now. The nerves really taking a big effect because his accuracy is not actually that bad. But even then, Romania's overall team accuracy, they're 99% plus on every single player, and their highest accuracy player is the only one that's not FCing, which is keeping him right in line with his teammates right now.
Yeah, this is a great team performance from Romania, and honestly, other than Melver, it's a great team performance from Norway as well. This is an absolutely fine pick from them. Unfortunately, just Melver's score falling 300,000 points to even more than that behind. As you said, and there goes Yolkspie as well, so that's probably going to seal the deal even with that break from after win for Romania. The one player can make a big difference if everybody else is FCing, and his accuracy would be so good without those misses too. It's very unfortunate for Melver that he had those breaks, but Romania looks like they're going to be able to take this one. They'll get an early break point here, and this is just a great showing from really all of their members. Even after win with that late miss, is still going to put up a very solid score.
Yeah, this is just looking really good for Romania here at the end. Norway just letting it slip away a little bit in the earlier parts of the map there, and Melver just not quite able to match up there, but you have your good days, you have your bad days, and then the certain maps that you just can perform on. And unfortunately, today was not Melver's day. His accuracy actually very good. One of the higher accuracies on his team, almost hitting 99%. But I think it was just the placement of his misses. They were just so spaced out that he wasn't really able to build up a combo. And, as much as combo game is not the biggest part of this, it is certainly a massive portion. And only being able to get your max combo up to about a third of the total is detrimental to your score, him being about half the score of everyone else. So Norway's going to let a breakpoint slip away early on a pick that, could have been good for them, but definitely was a little bit questionable going up against Romania picking the Nomad 1 aim map. And Romania is going to have their opportunity to kind of run away with this now if they're able to pick up their own pick here.
Yeah, this has been such a huge thing we've seen throughout a lot of these matches where, a team will go up 2-1, have their own pick go up 3-1, and that's just such a good spot to be in. You're absolutely in the driver's seat at that point in the match. So Romania, I'm sure, going to find a pick that they're good at. I'm expecting potentially even a Hard Rock here, but potentially a Nomad as well. There's a lot of options for a team like that, depending on how they feel on the given day, but maybe something like Hard Rock 2, and that is going to be the pick. So it's going to be Eve. They are going to go into the precision aim with our CS 6.5 Hard Rock here with Eve. That is, I think, a very good pick for Romania, a team who has some players who are quite good at the precision aim with the small circle skill of guys like Badu. I mean, he's going to be the one you're going to point out a lot of the time as he is the star player for that roster. But he is just really, really good at this sort of thing, as are several other players from that country. So I think this is a very good pick for them.
Yeah, this will be good to roll through for Romania here, just to kind of test the waters on all the different mods today. Make sure they have all of their entrances and exits covered. And, we mentioned Badu a lot. There's a lot of backing for Romania this year. You have players like Rolly and Eternum, very good aim player as well. Christie, a little bit less known of a player, but very solid on the aim. A new player, I believe, for Romania. I don't remember Christie from last year, unless I'm forgetting, or a name change, but known a little bit more throughout single player scores rather than community tournaments or tournaments in general. But a solid choice for this map, and Romania just has so much coverage in the different mod picks that it's very hard to catch them off on something. Norway has a lot of good aim players, maybe not necessarily on a CS 6.5 Hard Rock. This requires a lot of precision, but when you're running with a lot of known aim players on both sides, especially players like, Fiel, Kevzi, Yokespy, and Nielsen, it's such a interesting lineup when you get into the actual map. It's cool to see where the players are finding the breaks, because they're not always in the conventional spots.
Yeah, whenever you see a CS 6.5, unless you're a player like a Badu or a Kingling or someone like that who is known for their precision aim, you can miss almost anywhere. It's so easy to miss on tiny circles like these. So got to be very careful, got to keep good control. And I think that might be why we're seeing Melver going out for this one. That shaky aim, I don't think would fare very well on a map like this. So one roster swap there for Norway that was very expected. To your point earlier, I will note that Christie did play last year's OWC, just in case anybody was wondering. He played 2019, did not play previously, did not play 2018, but he was on the team last year that had that solid run. But we'll get into the map, and we'll see how Romania's pick goes here. They looked pretty good on their first one, even though it only was 100,000 points difference. They looked very good on Nomad 1, but this is a quite different skill set than what we've seen before. And it's going to start off with an early break from Fiel for Norway.
Yeah, this will be a little bit of a rocky start for Norway here. Definitely not the team picked for the high CS here. But Eternum finding an early break as well is actually going to give combo lead to Norway. They're going to stay in the back for score for now just because of the accuracy, but it's going to slowly catch up as Fiel has about an 80 combo lead over Eternum right now. And there goes Christie as well, so Norway now with a very decent combo lead.
And Rolly is gone too, the only combo left now on Badu. Norway is going to run with this one. Do we see a back-to-back break point happening here as Christie finds another miss? Nielsen finds the second break for Norway, but they still have the FCs. Yokespy and it's Kevzi both holding on. This is going to get quite interesting. Nielsen is kind of not a factor at this point. He's only, 100k behind. He is still ahead of the score of Christie's, ahead of the score of Rolly. So it's a long road ahead here for Romania, and Norway's got a lot of combos still.
Yeah, Yokespy and Kevzi still on the FCs, matching Badu and besting him with that extra FC, and Fiel outscoring Eternum with the early break. Eternum does have a little bit of an accuracy advantage though, but there goes Fiel. So now here's the opportunity with Nielsen breaking. Romania's starting to build up a lot of combo again now, and this score line could slowly creep back over. You see it starting to move towards the left, but the time is running out with Norway.
There's a break from Eternum. That might have just sealed the deal. Kevzi breaking near the end, but I think it's late enough not to matter. I don't think there's a way for Romania to bring this one back. This is going to be back-to-back break points. It's going to be another very close map, though. Just a score gap of 100,000, but a great performance from Norway. Not a team that I would have expected to come in and take a precision aim pick off of Romania, but the FC from Yokespy matching Badu. The other combo is just a little bit stronger, and that is a tied match 2-2 on the break point.
I don't know if we made note of it, but Yokespy on the top and the center there, something I see very rarely from him. He was shaking quite a bit on those ending jumps there. Maybe, got to see the scoreboard a little bit before the map ended, in a very surprising break point for them. He put up some of the best accuracy I've actually seen him put up on a CS 6.5 Hard Rock in a while. Trying to go up against players like Eternum and Badu on a Hard Rock pick is very difficult to match that accuracy, and he was a very, very big factor for Norway in that point there, and a very, very needed break point for them after letting up Nomad 1. This is going to get them right back in this match on their own pick, no less. If Norway continues with this, and we just go back and forth on these picks here, this could be the first tiebreaker we see this round, or since the Russia...
It was Ukraine versus South Korea. Was the only tiebreaker we've seen so far, yeah. This is, we talked about this matchup being so close, especially with this early round pool, and so that being the direction we're heading in is not surprising to me. And we are going to get the free mod pick now. I think we kind of made mention of the fact that free mod was an expected mod pool for both of these teams to go into. So BS Power Explosion, I think, being a very logical pick here for Norway. We've got players who are quite comfortable in either mod on this, as does Romania, so this should be another contested pick.
Yeah, this was definitely something I think that both of these teams have a lot of mod coverage. We talk about the specific skill sets of these players a lot, but there is just so much, malleability with these teams here, and you hit a lot of these experienced tournament players where they have just, even though they have their mod that they kind of stick out in, you gotta force yourself to be able to be comfortable with a lot of different mods, being a prominent community tournament player. And when you have players like, Badoo and Yokespie, who you see all the time, they are really able, even though they have their main skill set lying in that reading and giving, to take a lot of different aspects here. And both of these teams, it'll be interesting to see what mods they end up running with. I think Romania is going to be a little bit more obvious, with Eternum most likely taking Hard Rock and Badoo maybe running the Hidden for them. But Norway, I feel like there's just so much opportunity for them to change up their mods here that I think, with GN in, it probably more solidifies the fact that he's going to run with the Hidden today, but the Hard Rock kind of floating around there.
I think it's Kevzi, right after the last pick. I would not be surprised to see him being the Hard Rock player in this. He did come in for Eve on Hard Rock and put up a very good score. So I would not be surprised if he's the Hard Rock player. We have also noted that certain teams have run overmods on this. So we would not be surprising to see some extra mods here and there. Somebody like Yokespie, who's so good at Hidden, they could run like a double Hidden with a Hard Rock and then maybe one no mod. Similarly for Romania, I think they could potentially look to run 2 Hard Rocks and a Hidden as well. But we'll get to find out here as we load in. And it's going to be, looks like, the overmod in a big way for Norway. All 4 players running mods, Kevzi and Fiel, Hard Rock, GN, and Yokespie Hidden. Romania going for the minimal mods, Hard Rock on Christie, Hidden on Afterwind, Badoo and Eternum, the no mod players. So they kind of roll with that top players running no mod strat, whereas Norway, with this being their pick, go for the big overmod. We'll see if that works out for them. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. You just don't know. And it all depends on how comfortable a given player is with the mod on this type of map.
We've seen a lot of good overmodding on this map, and I think most teams that do it are generally pretty comfortable, bar a couple of unfortunate misses. But, there goes a tournament with the no mod, so that's a big combo lost. You really, if you're running no mod on your top players, you're really putting a lot of trust in them to get a guaranteed FC here, not running with a mod here. Badoo definitely pulling his weight with that double S still and Afterwind on the Hidden, and Christie with 99%, but Norway so strong overall. I definitely am not surprised to see an overmod from them, especially on their own pick. I'm sure they're comfortable with it. And GN and Yokespie are definitely the type of people that I would expect to be more comfortable on an AR9 pick with Hidden on. Kevzi just kind of rolling through with the Hard Rocker right here, 99.4, and Christie as well, 99.25.
There is the break from Kevzi, though. That's the first miss from Norway, and it came at a pretty inopportune time as we're right about halfway through. That score gap is going to come over to Romania as they have a big combo lead now, heading into the middle portion of the map. This rhythm does not really let up on you very much. The alternating triples and quints coming through. And there's a break from Christie, though, so that is another FC gone for Romania. Norway will be able to hold on to the lead. Triple FC against 2 FCs and 1 big combo. It's going to take another miss from Norway now if Romania wants to have a chance at a comeback in the last third.
Yokespie really shaking more than I traditionally see him shake on some of these more mid-match picks here. But Norway with
GN,
that's a big break.
He fell off that entire stream. That was a bunch of accuracy dropped as well as his combo. There is some time left here for Romania to make up this score gap, and Christie and Eternum have both recovered quite well from the earlier misses. Score should be shifting over here, especially with Badoo and Afterwind still holding those FCs.
It's going so far over to Romania's side right at the end here. There's gonna be enough time, unless there's a big break from Romania here.
The score, Romania, that's a big break.
Eternum broke. That's gonna give it away to Norway at the last second.
Oh my! It happened right at that last moment. 20,000 points. Oh, Eternum just had to hold through the last, 20 combo, and he would have brought that back, but unfortunately it was not to be, and Norway, with the double FC from Fiel and Yokespie, are able to hang on, and they take the 3-2 lead. Another incredibly close map. We have had no shortage of those in this matchup, and despite the 3-way S rank for Romania, just not quite enough for them. Maybe wishing they'd had Badu on a mod, because that could have made the difference.
20,000 score difference between those two teams right there, and it was quite literally all on that last miss from Eternum. Unfortunately for him, he held so well after that first initial break, and right at the end there was just enough time. And the problem was the score lead went over to Romania, but goodness, it was maybe only by 3,000 or 4,000. It had just flickered over to their side, so there was absolutely zero room. I think even a couple of hundreds at the end there might have even pushed it towards Norway again. But that break right at the ending, the score lost on Scorby 2 from finding a break that late and that many just loses so much in the end there. And Norway with the consistent overall performance and that 4 mod really working out for them. Any one player without a mod could have let that 20,000 score up.
I was going to say, that overmod ended up actually paying dividends for them. One less mod on Norway or one more mod on Romania with the exact same performances, and Romania would have taken the point, which is why I was a bit surprised to see only the 2 mods on Romania, because that's not a super difficult map. But Norway pulling out the strats and making it work at that last second. Now, we're going to go back into another speedy pick, though. We're going to see Nomad 5 as the selection from Romania. We saw that DT pick a little bit earlier on from them that they won on their first point. So this is another map, it's at that 220 BPM. That's something we think that Romania is a little stronger on. And maybe another point. They've lost a couple in a row here, though. They're going to need this one if they want to avoid falling behind a match point.
This is going to be a strong pick for Romania, I think, if they continue their trend of being good at the DT maps here. This speed map, even catching some of the best speed players on this weekend. And, being 3 minutes and 43 seconds long, this is not short by any means. So there is a little bit of breaking room for players here, but traditionally been about those big FCs into the end of this map here. I think, Bubbleman put up the 1x100 on this map earlier today, so... Was this his 4x100 map? It was one of them.
Yeah, this was Bubbleman's 1x100. He was on an absolute rampage. We'll see if anybody in this match can try to live up to that score. I don't know that anyone is quite up to Bubbleman's level on this, and now already the only person left who can do it is Christy2708, and now there is no chance. All right, there are already more hundreds than Bubbleman had on literally every single player. These are two teams that not quite as strong with this skill set, perhaps, as the United Kingdom, and especially not as strong as Bubbleman. But the early accuracy advantage in favor of Romania. We've talked about Norway not being super great at speed, and you can see some of their players having a little trouble with the accuracy, just trying to keep their combo up. It is still an 8-way full combo, so anything can happen. I believe Eternum might have missed in about the first 15 combo, in fact, with a slider break, perhaps. But still, we're going to remain very close, just the accuracy separating teams right now. As Nielsen and Rolly trade breaks going into the first break in the map. Again, very long, 3 minutes and 43 seconds. There is a lot of time for anything to happen on this pick.
Yeah, that break is essentially nullified as well. Nielsen and Rolly basically with the same accuracy overall, which means both of them break. But Eternum's break, that's big, because that's later. That's a slider break for him at about a quarter way through the map. And something to note about Norway, they did sub Melver out for this map. They're running a new lineup for the speed versus what they had on the DT here, hoping to put up a little bit more combo, and it seems to be working. GN, Fiel, and Comfy still on the FCs. And it's the 2 breaks, Rolly and Eternum, just Nielsen for Norway, but we're still not at the halfway point of the map yet, which means that there's plenty of time to recover combo, but that also means that that's longer for Norway to run with this 3-way FC.
And one thing to note here, Romania bringing in Luci Bucci for the first time, and he is currently putting up the best score in the lobby, 99% accuracy, the only one at 99 plus. Nielsen does find another break, but still the 3-way FC for Norway. But Romania is going to rely a lot on Luci Bucci at this point. It looks like he is their best performer for this pick so far. Still a small lead, though, for Norway as he breaks. Luci Bucci, I'm sorry I mentioned your name, man. All me, my bad. Comfy, though, does come back with a break of his own for Norway, so it is not going to be the end of the world there for Romania, but the Fiel, GN, double FC still doing a lot of work here for Norway as we go just past the halfway mark.
Norway needs to be very careful right now. They have 2 FCs on the board, and Romania only has 1, but those combos from Eternum and Rolly completely offsetting one of those FCs. The combined score of both of those players into the ending here, if they hold the FCs, is going to be enough to pull this back to Romania's side, because the accuracy on GN and Christie, very close, 1% difference. Lucci finding a break, however, is going to, kind of offset the time required for Romania to bring this back. But with a quarter of the map left, Eternum and Rolly still holding, and Christie offsetting an FC from Norway, this is fully comebackable with any break from Norway right here. The score line is going to be so close.
Yeah, and this ending is quite tricky. The last couple hundred combo of this map, there are plenty of places where you can find breaks. Fiel and GN absolutely have to hold on and hope that Comfy and Nielsen can hold on as well behind them. Those two FCs making the difference. So for the moment for Norway, they maintain about 100,000 point lead, but that can change in an instant. But we're coming very close to the ending here. We're running out of time here for Romania. Norway looking as comfortable as can be still. Those two FCs holding on just fine. They might just be able to do this and emerge with another break point here. We're getting into the very ending, and there are no breaks from Norway. They're going to take this point, and it's going to be another break point. That's going to be 3 picks in a row for Norway, and they are now at match point with their own pick to come. Who would have seen this coming?
That was the performance of the day from Norway there. Completely against all odds, I think, stacked against them on a speed pick. Eternum with 99.59%, just barely dropping his FC from the beginning on that slider break there. Quite literally the difference on Romania here was just a couple of one miss and slider break plays, unfortunately for them, just letting that slip through their fingers at the ending there. And Fiel and GN, Fiel is very solid at the speed, but GN, probably the player that the least amount of people would have expected to almost top score for Team Norway on a speed nomad pick, but he is really just proving that, his experience is really just going to carry him through this match right here. GN, one of the older players on Team Norway here. He's been around for quite a while, and he's really showing off that all-rounder skill that he has in this match, saying, no, I am going to push my team to the victory in this. And Norway have already forced match point now. Romania need 2 picks in a row if they even want to attempt tiebreaker here, and they have to do it on Norway's pick, no less.
This is a really rough spot to be in now if you're Romania. A little bit of a mispick maybe on that Nomad 5. It could have gone either way, right? Like you alluded to, if Eternum had not found those early slider breaks, his score wouldn't have been enough to make the difference in favor of Romania, but it was just not to be. And now this is a big pick here for Norway. I don't know what necessarily to expect them to go into. Maybe it's a Nomad 3 or a Nomad 4. The alt map or the tech map in the Nomad pool, but it's tricky because a lot of these maps I think are still basically toss-ups, and they're going to go with Nomad 2 instead. It's going to be Shoujo Kisokyoku, which is very much a stream map that is not all that difficult. And if there's anything we just learned from the Nomad 5 pick, it's that Norway is better at these types of maps than we would have expected.
Yeah, Norway running really strong on the streams today, and something very important to note about this Nomad 2, it is less heavy on the stamina and the BPM, and it's a little bit more focused on the stream velocities here, and we've seen a lot of players get caught up by either under-aiming or over-aiming these streams, just going slightly too fast or slow, and it does catch up a lot of even the best stream players on something like this, so it's important to note that this really goes either way for this map. And when you're Norway and you're coming off of the high of winning a very streamy Nomad speed pick, you might as well roll out with, the slightly lower BPM Nomad 2. The streams are a little bit more consistent, but Norway been looking really consistent today overall. This might be really good for them, but Romania has been putting up some very good performances to back it, just very slightly underperforming on a couple of picks compared to what Norway's been putting up. So they still have the opportunity to stay in this on Norway's pick, and if they win this, they are back to their own. So, Romania has all the opportunity in the world right now. The ball is in their court, and they just have to keep it.
It's an interesting pick. I think, again, we've said so many of these maps are just absolute toss-ups. I feel like it's hard to favor either one of these teams on many of these maps. Norway, what I think they're doing a very good job of here is they're keeping Badu out of the equation Romania picked Nomad 5, which he wasn't in for. Then Norway picks Nomad 2, which he's also not in for. And as we've said, Badu is probably the highest individual skill cap player in this match. So not having him in is a huge deal. Romania forced to play with 4 other very good players, but not, kind of their specialist, absolute, all-round God mode except for speed player, I guess. So Norway have a little bit of the advantage there, and they are coming off of a win on a stream pick. So we're just going to see if they can maintain that.
Yeah, Norway have to be very careful because there were 2 very unfortunate breaks, the 1 miss and the 1 slider break from Eternum and Rolly on that previous pick. And if they improve from that in any fashion here, Norway is going to be given a significant amount of trouble here in terms of accuracy, given Romania's current stance with Eternum still double S-ing. This is a map that he is fantastic at something, so he will be a very big factor for Romania in this right now. And Yulson looking to try and offset that for Norway with the highest accuracy, but still in the favor of Romania accuracy alone. It's going to come down to whoever finds the first break.
Yeah, and this is, again, a decently long map. It's 3 minutes, plenty of combo, and you wonder a little bit as well if nerves are going to start to play a bit of a factor. We get into these deeper stages of the match where it's match point. You're on the 7th map being played. There's a little bit of the nerves and the stamina of the whole match and the pressure of the situation maybe coming into play a little bit. But so far, nobody really looking like they're shaking too badly, but that's a break from Comfy. That's going to be the first miss on any player. The 4-way still being maintained by Romania, but now down to 3 for Norway.
Yeah, this is really looking good for Romania right now. Eternum is just shredding this map up, and Comfy, unfortunately, just got shredded by that stream right there. That was a lot of misses, which on Score V2 is really big. That's a lot of score lost. You can see he's already 100,000 behind the rest of his team now, unfortunately. But there's also not much you can do about this. Romania still holding 4 FCs on the board with very, very good accuracy after when the only one struggling. But it is more than made up by Eternum and Christie on that high accuracy. And there goes Nilsson as well for Norway. And that is going to leave almost no opportunity to come back, unfortunately, with only a quarter of the map left to go.
Yeah, it's 300,000 points in the lead for Romania now. It would take basically a full combo reset for Norway to have any sort of chance in this one. This was a pick that made sense at the time, but a little bit risky as well because it is not one of the more difficult maps in the pool. And it's something that clearly Romania feels very good on. Eternum still maintaining that 1x100 play. Christie and Rolly just a bit behind. After when struggling a little bit with Act, but he's keeping the combo up, and that's what matters the most. And, well, as I say that, he immediately breaks. It is still 3 FCs to 2, though. It's not going to be the end of the world. We're going to come down to the very end of this one, and it looks like it's going to be a break point back here as Thiel finds a last-moment break for Norway. It's going to be a break point back here for Romania. It's going to be 4-3 the score, and they're going to have their own pick to try to send it to a tiebreaker. Now, immediately you are thinking, what is our pick here? What is the best option for us to try and send this on to that 4-4 tie into the tiebreaker? And that is a tough, tough decision to make.
That is going to be decently difficult for Romania here. A very confident finish there. Eternum 1x100. You absolutely love to see it. That is the performance that we expect to see out of him. Such a consistent stream player, and I think he definitely probably a little bit disappointed by his performance on some of the previous picks that they could have won, but he has certainly made up for it on the Nomad 2 pick here. That is the highest accuracy I think we've seen on this map for this entire round of the tournament. I don't think anyone else has gotten below 2 or 3. So that is just insane from him. And Romania going to look, again, as you mentioned, for that tiebreaker forcing pick here. They have a lot of options, and Norway's been looking good across the board, so it's going to be very hard. They have a DT open here, and Romania normally confident, but they could go back, and they went for the Hard Rock again. They looked very good on Eve, but it was so close into the ending of that, and Romania really needs to be, really confident on this Hard Rock 1 to be able to close this.
Yeah, I mean, Eve did go the way of Norway, but this is a little bit different of a Hard Rock pick. Going from that precision aim into something that's a little more about the those bursts that come up a lot, the triples and quints. At a CS, I believe 5.2 rather than 6.5. One thing that I want to note going into the next map, the Nomad 2 that was picked just now by Norway that they was lost by 750,000 points. That was by about 300k, the largest margin of victory we've seen in this entire match. does that affect their mental going into what could be a tiebreaker forcing pick here, to know that they had the match on their side, that they got to pick for a potential closer, and they end up losing it by such a vast margin? How does that affect your mental going into the opponent's last pick? You know, you've got to make sure to maintain your calm and consistency, but it's rough when you really get just blown out on a pick like that.
I think what we can hope from Norway right now is that they were picking that map based on their performance solely from Nomad 5, just to see if they could continue, or maybe just to see if Romania would put up a similar performance, because if they did, they'd be able to close it out there. And I think that would be best case scenario for Norway. If that was kind of their stretch pick right there, they just wanted to see if they could close it out on that one. Unfortunately, you know, backfiring for them in the end. And as we come back to Hard Rock, Norway is going to be very hard pressed to put up the same performance that they did on Hard Rock 2. But they looked very good on the aim there, and they've been looking very good on the aim overall today. So Romania definitely has their work cut out for them on this next map here, and they really, you know, quite literally have to win this to force a tiebreaker here in a very, very close match. Romania's last chance.
And this does notably bring Badu back in. You know, I talked about it being a boon to Norway that they didn't have to face him, and then they ended up losing the pick anyway. So we'll see what kind of difference maker he can be. But Rolia, Turnham, and Christie have looked very good throughout this match. Norway rolling with Marcus Fiel, Yokespy, GN, a very strong roster as well. Notably no Kevzy, who was in for the preceding Hard Rock pick, as well as playing Hard Rock on the free mod. So a little surprising maybe to see him go out for this particular one. But otherwise, I think kind of the expected rosters for both these teams on a map where you can break a lot of different places. It's tough to be consistent on this one. A lot of people have found misses at very unlucky times, so we're going to hope that everyone can hold through and avoid letting the nerves get to them. At this 3-4, you know, the score gap is not big, and Norway's still on that match point.
GN with that very early break puts him a decent amount of combo behind, and on a 2-minute and 2-second map, that is huge for Romania right now.
Also huge is the accuracy. Fiel at 94%, GN at 95%, 96 on Marcus and Yokespy. A break from Eternum, but it's matched by Yokespy, and the accuracy lead vastly in favor of Romania. 97 Badu, 99 on Christie, 98 on Eternum. The only one struggling with Ak is Rolly, and he is still maintaining an FC. So that is going to be a huge help for Romania as well. They're going to build up a bit of a lead on the combo as well as the accuracy lead. So this is going to go into the last third with a 300,000 point lead so far for Romania.
Massive for Romania right now. These three FCs really pushing them in here. GN unfortunately finding another break into the end. He was starting to build up a decent combo, but the accuracy on Romania just continuing to push this in their favor, and this was a smart pick, and there goes all of them.
And Marcus, this one is now over. That just ended the map right there.
Yeah, if it wasn't already fully in the favor of Romania, it certainly is now, and there's finally the full combo reset for Norway with Yokespy breaking in the end. And 3 FCs on Romania into the close here. Christie and Eternum on the accuracy, 98.63 and 98. Eternum actually breaks on that last slider. But a good performance. I
mentioned that Nomad 2 being the most one-sided pick we'd seen so far in the match. Well, that didn't last long. That was the most one-sided map we got to see in the match. 1.2 million points margin of victory for Romania. Hard Rock 1 going the way that they wish Hard Rock 2 had gone, because they would have just won the match if it had. But instead, they do manage to force the tiebreaker, which means we are getting, for the second time this weekend, welcome to the Black Parade. It is time for a tiebreaker at the 4-4 score. We expected this match to be a good one, and it is proving to be just that.
This is going to be an interesting tiebreaker between these two teams. We've seen a lot of good consistency from both sides here, but it's been kind of flickering back and forth on who's performing today. But I imagine the lineups for this are going to bring back those classic consistency lineups, maybe even something similar to what we saw from the Nomad 1 lineups. There's a lot of aim in this tiebreaker. Not a ton, though, but it's, I guess, flowy. Trying to put a finger on, I guess, describing this, but you know, if you come from community tournaments and you watch a lot of these players and what they're able to put up on maps like this, you hear the term pretty often in a lot of other community tournaments, getting Yokespy'd in tiebreaker. And it's something that we see all too often where Yokespie will kind of just show up and like rock out a tiebreaker like it's nothing. And that could be very big for Norway right now if he's feeling confident. But you're also going up against Romania, who have players like Badu and Rolly and potentially a Turnham playing this that can kind of just roll through these, you know, higher difficulty maps here just because they're so comfortable on them.
And it's looking like we might end up seeing Chiu in, who I don't know that we've seen in quite some time, but he was in for the Nomad 1 pick. So that is a player on the side of Romania who they do feel comfortable putting in for aim maps, which tiebreaker has some aim to it, and we're going to be getting underway. So these are the rosters set. It's going to be Rolly, Badu, Chiu, Christie, the aim consistency squad for Romania, taking on Marcus, Melver, Yokespie, and GN. Melver coming in for the first time, I believe, in a while as well, and we had made a lot of note of the fact that he was shaking very badly in some of those early picks, and on a long tiebreaker like this, just about 5 minutes, that could end up coming into play here. That might be something to be concerned about. Also notable, Yokespie running hidden, so a little bit of mod advantage here for Norway, but I don't know that it'll end up mattering. And sing along if you know the words. It is Welcome to the Black Parade.
We are getting underway. We're ready. It's time for tiebreaker, the second tiebreaker of the weekend. Norway versus Romania. Again, these are the two closest teams out of qualifiers, the 16th and 17th seeded teams, rightfully so, going to tiebreakers. So close in skill sets here. A lot of accuracy drops at the beginning, except for Chiu, who is coming back in to make a statement. Going to try and hold this down for Romania at the beginning on the accuracy. Norway holding that score lead on the hidden on Yokespie right now. And, you know, I mentioned before the map started, I'll say it again, getting Yokespie in tiebreaker is something that happens to all too many people, and it's normally because he has a mod on and just kind of rolls through it. So we'll see what happens there. Romania's looked so strong after they recovered from a lot of extra points lost here. They're going to look to continue that.
This is a very tricky map, honestly, and Melver is going to find the first break, and we are already 350 combo in. This is such a long intro, but, you know, it's hard to act this intro deceivingly difficult in the beginning, and then obviously difficult with the very fast slider velocities and the tricky aim. So that combo is going to be at a premium here, and the accuracy as well. Badu now with the highest stack at 98, and Melver finding another break. I was a little concerned seeing him coming in for this match, or for this map. He's got a lot of time left to go, but he's already shaking, and he is missing all. Oh my goodness, Melver. Oh my dear Melver, I'm so sorry. He has a localized earthquake going on as GN and Christie trade breaks going into the first verse of the song.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate for Melver. You know, I didn't want to say anything when I saw him come back in because I was going to give the benefit of that. But there goes Marcus as well, so it is not all on Melver right now. It is the entirety of Norway who is just not having a good time at the beginning here. And Romania just looking so strong right now. Yokespie the only FC left. But, you know, you really did have to be concerned after, you know, they gave Melver a chance to kind of mellow out right here. But, you know, I really hope he's able to pull himself together. There's a break from Rolly, so they're not completely out yet, but he's really just shaking so much on this tiebreaker.
Yeah, this is a really rough spot to be in now for Norway. Halfway through the match, Chiu and Badu still on the double FC, and only Yokespie with the FC. It is the Yokespie method, 96% accuracy, still holding on to the FC, but he's shaking a little bit as well, and his team is crumbling a bit around him. Melver's struggling a lot. Another break from him, and GN and Marcus doing what they can to reestablish some combo. And there goes Yokespie's FC. I don't know that he's going to be carrying on any longer. I think it's going to be Romania welcoming them to the Black Parade here. They are the ones that are going to be in the driver's seat. Chiu finally finds a break, but Badu still holding strong. He is carrying on for Romania, trying to lead them forward in this map and in this tiebreaker.
Yeah, it is going down right now. Chiu finally finds a break, but Badu with 99.35% accuracy and climbing. Rolly finds a break. It really doesn't matter, unfortunately. Norway has fully combo reset, and with Badu still holding an FC and Christie with a massive backing combo right now, going to soon pass even the highest score on Norway of Yokespie with 400,000 right now. Badu is just running this across the finish right now. He is full sprinting this down into the end of the map here, holding through the 1/3 section into the slider as Melver and Chiu find a break. This is it for Norway. Romania coming into the finish of this match so strong after being on a point deficit. Badu shake, hello, what was that, Badu? Okay,
Fortunately,
Badu?
those couple breaks. What is he
Badu?
doing? I'm pretty sure
Hello?
he was trolling. There's no way he wasn't trolling just then. What is he doing?
Badu? Is he just having a stroke?
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because it's a 500k lead, but I'm not sure what he was doing there.
Hello?
I'm not sure, but man, it's just not going to matter because despite the ending combo here from Yokespy and GN, Romania just did more than enough to take a huge lead. I don't think that can possibly be.
I can't. There's no.
There's no way that's unintentional.
I've seen it before. I've seen players shake like this before, and you know exactly who I'm talking about right now. It is possible. But what? Badu? What?
Badu?
What is happening?
Oh, well. It's fine. He put up 700k. That was more than enough. Romania are gonna be your victors. Welcome Romania to the round of 16. Welcome Romania to the Black Parade. They have taken the point. They have taken the match. They get a date with the United States for their troubles, and they get to send Norway on down to the losers bracket in a thriller of a comeback performance in those last few
That
months.
was amazing from them. Some interesting sections at the ending there. You had Badu and Melver kind of, you know, pulling off the cha-cha slide with their cursors for the majority of the map at the ending there. But, you know, Norway with an insane performance today overall as a team. That was absolutely amazing to force Romania onto tiebreaker. You know, even given the qualifiers performance from both of these teams here, you know, Romania's performance from last year was definitely the one to beat. And, you know, they were probably still the favorites coming into this match. And they did make it work in the ending, but not after a significant amount of stress, I imagine, having to go to tiebreaker in the ending there. Fortunately, they were able to close it, and they will be your winners to go up against none other than the United States next week. Norway will be going down to the losers bracket to face off against Malaysia. And that will be it for that match. We have half an hour, everybody, until the final match of the round of 32.
And maybe in that half an hour we can catch our collective breath after that one.